Today's episode of Beyond the Mask is presented by the insurance specialists at Bright Think Wealth Strategies. Find the disability insurance coverage that fits you best right now. Email Robert Smith at rsmithjr@financialguide.com. The show is also made possible by the team at CRNA Financial Planning. Get a free consultation today to be guided through the complexities of investing and financial planning. Just visit crnafinancialplanning.com. We'd also like to thank Helping Hands and OSA EMR for their support of the show. And don't forget, listening to our podcast can earn you Class B credits. For more information on how you can submit them, check out the CE Credit tab on our website, beyondthemaskpodcast.com.
Hello, listeners. Well, Sharon, we're doing something today that we've typically not done.
That is true, Jeremy, but I think this warrants it.
I think so. Today, listeners, we're going to be re-releasing a previous episode. And, this is something that we talked about in the beginning we probably wouldn't do. But, Sharon, I know that you were so excited about this episode. You pestered me to listen to this for the longest time. And I think it'll be good to re-release this as we've been trying to help out other podcasts that are CRNA related and are doing good for the CRNA community and hopefully giving back some of the good fortune that we've had in our podcast.
Absolutely. So, we just want to make other CRNAs, our listeners, aware of other podcasts that we listen to. And Jeremy doesn't listen to this one as much as I do, but I love it. I call them the Sippy Cup girls.
For the longest time, you talked about that, and I thought, no, this is not something that I need to be listening to. But
oh, my God, but we had the best time with them whenever we finally got them to join us. But it was early in our podcasting career, I guess you could say. And so people may not be going back that far, but the actual name of their podcast is Scrub Caps and Sippy Cups. And they had a Facebook page for a mother's group, which was a very popular Facebook page. And so they decided to put together this podcast. And the first time I heard it, I about laughed myself silly on the way to work. Remember, I told you they were talking about breast pumping and all kinds of stuff. So we went down that path on our episode. I think they'll enjoy it. Lots of things have happened to these girls since we interviewed them last. Laci has had a baby. Oh. And Ellen has also had a baby, and she's getting ready to move into a new house. And unfortunately, that Crystal has breast cancer and had been going through chemo. And, I sent her a note after I'd heard it on the podcast and sent her a CRNA pin, a blingy CRNA pin to wear whenever she was going out. But we want to make sure we send recovery wishes and warmth and sunlight to Crystal.
Absolutely.
I've kept her in my prayers, and I know you have too, Jeremy. So we hope she's doing well. I know she's had a pretty tough time.
Yeah, and we wish them all well, and we hope our listeners enjoy listening to this episode again, because we really did have a blast doing it.
Oh, yes. So I guess that's it. And just listen away and laugh, because you most certainly will laugh.
Welcome to Beyond the Mask, Innovation and Opportunities for CRNAs with Jeremy Stanley and Sharon Pierce. We know you spend your day caring for your patient's best interests. On our show, we want to care for you. Join us as we leave the operating room and learn the latest in the CRNA industry. Beyond the Mask starts in 10, 9, 8, 7.
Welcome to Beyond the Mask. I'm Jeremy Stanley, and I've been working with CRNAs for over 23 years, and I'm married to one. And my co-host is
Sharon Pierce.
Sharon's a practicing CRNA for over 20 years, a past president of the ANA, the NCANA, and she's held many other leadership roles. As usual, our goal with every episode is to educate and enlighten CRNAs, and I think our topic today is definitely going to do that. And Sharon, what time is it?
It's time to wake up, Jeremy.
I think it is. All right, Sharon, we're back together again at Beyond the Mask podcast.
I know, and we just did a little bit of Facebook Live taping.
Tell you what, we're branching out here. You know, for us to be newbies only a year ago, we've learned a whole lot.
Yes, we have learned a whole lot.
We must be pretty smart.
Well, that makes one
of
us. Which one is it?
Well, I know Sharon is excited about this podcast today. She has been talking to me about this topic now for months, and I am not kidding you guys. I have heard about Scrub Caps and Sippy Cups podcasts, and Sharon has said, you know what, you need to listen to these girls. They're doing a great job. They're funny. So we are delighted to have them on our show tonight. We have Crystal, Ellen, and Laci. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here. I think more excited than you are.
Oh, I don't know if that's so. I called him one morning at 6 o'clock in the morning whenever I heard the breast pump.
She's like, you got to listen to this.
I'm driving to work 6 o'clock because he gets up to go work out. And so I called him, and he answered the phone and didn't cuss me, so it was all good.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, Laci, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about you and your background.
Well, I'm a CRNA, and I went to the Minneapolis School of Anesthesia in the Midwest and in Minnesota.
My son-in-law went there. No, did he?
What?
Who was your program director?
It was Becky Gumkoto.
Okay.
And then Dennis Bless and Brian Thorson, you might know them.
Yeah.
They were instructors there.
Oh, okay.
So, been a CRNA for 5 years, still work in the state of Minnesota, the great state of ice cold right now. And then I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old and one more on the way. And so we're a young family. We live out in the country, and yeah, it's fun.
When are you due?
May. So I'm hoping for, I've had January and February babies. I'm hoping for some spring weather.
Nice.
There you go. All right. So now let's hear from you, Ellen. And you've got a little interesting background. I read your bio. So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, I do. I am originally from the Ukraine. I moved here when I was 4 to the United States, and I grew up here, so I only use my background when it's convenient for me.
Like most people, right?
Yeah, but I do speak fluent Russian, which comes in handy. I went to the University of Pittsburgh for my bachelor's, Penn for my master's. I just graduated with my DNP last weekend.
Oh,
thank goodness that's over. And I'm a mom of 2 little boys, and I can't sit still and I can't relax. I just do like 50,000 things all at once. So that's me.
That's awesome.
Totally opposite Laci. She's so calm.
Well, you know,
right.
most moms have to be a little ADD anyway, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
How old are the boys?
Michael is 3 and Ben is 1.5, and it is a circus in my house all day long.
I am sure.
I bet it is. So we have Crystal. Crystal, tell us a little bit about you.
Hey, I am born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I haven't gone very far. I thought I branched out when I went away to college, but it was about an hour and a half away, also in Missouri. I got my undergrad at Mizzou and then went to grad school back in St. Louis at Webster University.
All right. So, and I didn't mention this up front, but yes, they all 3 are CRNAs. All 3 are mothers. And Crystal, I was actually born in St. Charles, Missouri.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So, a year or 2 after you, though.
Yeah.
What are you laughing about, Crystal? I know you can see me and everything. No, we were talking earlier about the ages of my kids, and you know, Sharon always loves to give me a hard time about that.
The span in between them. So, Crystal, you have 1. And how old is your child?
My daughter, Tegan, she is 6.
Tegan is 6. Okay.
And any more coming? You're going to wait how long?
You know,
well, it'd at least be 7 years between them.
I change my mind hourly, by minute, by day. So
Depends on how they're behaving, how she's behaving that day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had mine close together. Mine were 17
yours are
months.
twins.
Well,
you have
I'm not
them
talking
close
about
together,
the
Sharon. Come on.
minute apart piece. I'm talking about there
Couple
were
minutes apart.
Yeah, there were 17 months between my son and my twins.
Gotcha.
Now, I meant to have them close. I wasn't counting on a minute apart on the second go around.
Did you say 7 months?
17 months.
Yeah, 7 months would have been a little weird.
Yeah. I'm good, and I am an overachiever, but I'm not.
I was gonna say that's like glitters.
Just call me Mary. Something going on there.
Oh gosh! All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about CRNA's balancing mom life and work life, and then some of the trials and tribulations of being a working mom. And I can relate wholeheartedly. My wife is a CRNA as well, and we have 2 younger kids, and we have a built-in babysitter and my older daughter, so she helps out a lot. But so it is tough. It's hard to balance a career, especially if you're working full-time. And what you guys do is stressful, and I'm sure you bring it home sometimes. So, why would you guys say, and Crystal, we'll just start with you, why is this topic so important, and why did you guys start this podcast?
Well, we really connected with a lot of CRNAs with just like the basic day-to-day stuff with, I'm about to pull my hair out. Are you? And, oh my God, I had the sickest patient today. And there's other mom groups that you could connect with, but no one really gets it unless you're a CRNA. You just don't get the type of job, the responsibilities, and all that goes with it. And then we had this beautiful platform with the Facebook page, but we wanted to branch out. We wanted to share this wisdom we found from all these smart mamas, which is what we've been calling each other for years.
I love it.
And we just want to share it with other working moms.
Yeah.
Other moms that are struggling, because we all struggle, but not everyone, will admit to it.
What I think is so cool about you guys too is you're all in different places. But you've formed this relationship, and this bond is pretty cool. It reminds me of some of my wife's friends, but they get together and they can drink wine together and talk about the surgeons they worked with, and, the cases, and, this scrub tech did this and this CRNA did that. But you guys don't have that. You've developed this kind of long distance relationship. Laci, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Well, that's the really cool thing about Facebook and connecting people. There's 6,000 CRNA moms in our group right now who all get on there and do that same thing, except it's just with strangers that become your friends. And there are people who are like, where do you live? Because we should really be friends. And, there's just a lot of people who've made connections and just different friendships through this group, and just through connecting with other people that you wouldn't ordinarily meet with, but who are all there to support you and be there for you, to celebrate your happy news of having another baby, to celebrate, the exciting milestone your kid just made, to hold your hand when something's not going right. And we've seen some people who've come across some really hard times, and group members have set up GoFundMe accounts, have set up fundraisers for them, and, just found multiple ways to support each other.
So, Ellen, all of you live in different states. And I remember on one of your podcasts, y'all were talking about going somewhere and actually meeting each other face to face. Any update on that?
So, yeah, we do. We live in different states, but not just that. We live in different time zones. So that also makes it interesting. But we definitely want to get together. The hard part is the 3 of us still work full time. So it's like managing, work vacation schedules. And I would love to walk into my job and be like, excuse me, do you know that I am a member of Scrub Caps and Sippy Cups? I have to be allowed vacation. But I'm pretty sure they would just snarl at me and give me a poor assignment that day. So
you just wait. You're going to be
it's
famous.
Time to juggle.
You're going to be famous.
We're working on it.
Well, listen, from somebody who's a little bit further down the road than you guys are in life, you just have to set
That means
a
she's
date.
Older, guys.
Shut up.
Sorry.
She's more wise.
It
That's all
just
she
means that you have to make time. I have girlfriends that I met within the AANA, and we all live in different states. We call ourselves the Fab Four. And every year in January, we do something together. And we missed last January, and we will never, ever do that again. So you just have to set it up. This is the weekend. So when we left this past January, we said, okay, Sharon's going to plan this trip, and I planned it the week after I got back, and we're going to Vegas next year.
That's
in
awesome.
January.
That's a great idea.
That
We
is
really
awesome.
should do it.
Yeah.
I think we were also trying to maybe like hit two birds with one stone and do it during a conference so we can also meet the other moms of the group.
nice.
So I think that's where it got out of hand because we really limited ourselves to dates. But it's tough too because like Laci's pregnant now and then I hope to get pregnant. So then we're also working around like, maternity leave and flying and nursing and all the stuff. So we're going to make it happen though. But it's definitely funny being able to FaceTime and Zoom every couple weeks at least.
Yeah.
And so you feel like you see each other all the time, but we always joke. We're like, we can't wait to hug.
It's true.
That's funny.
And we should definitely go to Vegas when none of us are pregnant.
Yeah,
There
not
you
right
go.
now, Laci.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like
That's
pregnant.
right. Yeah. We don't want that to be unfair to certain parties.
That's right.
No.
You're pregnant and in a bar.
Yeah, exactly.
It is funny, my wife's friends, they're all in that 30-something range, and seems like for years now, one of them have all been pregnant along the way, but they're getting to those mid-30s, and I think that's leveling out now. So I think we'll have less and less pregnancies and more drinking parties.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
I
That
like
sounds
it.
fun.
So,
What was your biggest misconception about parenting? Well,
Ellen, you want to take this one first?
Yeah. My biggest misconception about parenting was that one day you just figure it out. And I'm still waiting for that day. And I've been told that it never comes because the second you think you figured it out, everything changes.
yeah, they figure you out.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah.
You're always trying to maintain a poker face and you're always losing the game.
well, that's what Botox is for. But
Yeah, exactly.
my twins
Yeah.
will be 33 in April, and you never figure it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I figure
I
you
feel-
just learn to roll the punches better.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Roll with the punches. So, all right, Crystal. So,
Hey.
and what were you most unprepared for when you had children?
Gosh, what was I actually prepared for?
That might be the better question, right?
It was really, I feel like, hard for me. I'm an only child, and we were a really small family. I was never really around kids. I never really did pediatrics with nursing. I really wasn't prepared for any of it. I was prepared to love something so much that, it'll break your heart, but I wasn't prepared for any of, like, the little stuff, the chore stuff. And breastfeeding, my God, that was a nightmare.
my favorite podcast, y'all.
Well, let's just go down that road. You threw it out there, Crystal. So talk to me about.
Listen, the man wants to know about it. I just want y'all to know.
I've never breastfed anything or anyone before, but I heard
You
my
can
wife.
milk anything with nipples, Greg.
Really?
Remember that movie?
Yes, yes,
No.
yes. That is from Meet the Fockers.
Oh, that's right.
anything with nipples.
Hey, I thought you called me the wrong name, Ellen. I was
Aren't they
like,
trying to
wait a
I knew
minute.
it. As soon- I heard crickets, and I'm like, oh, it totally got lost.
That is too funny.
Yeah, that was good. All right. So now that you brought up breastfeeding, Crystal, we just got to go down this path. Talk to us about that. What's the problem with it?
It's not natural. The baby doesn't want to do it. You don't want to do it. It hurts really bad. What else? It's hard. It's a chore. It's a full-time job to breastfeed. My baby, she would breastfeed for 30 minutes and then sleep for like 20 and then breastfeed again for 30 minutes. You literally have a human being attached to your breast 24/7. Am I right, girls?
Yep.
Yeah. Something.
Boy, that was in unison too. You got this osmosis thing going on.
Oh yeah.
She's
For
laughing.
being something that's like sustained the human race for as long as we've been alive, it is not a natural process. And you have to learn it, and so does your baby. And so I think it's a struggle, and people don't expect that. And people don't know where to go when they struggle. And so people, like, we see it all the time in the group where someone's posting, like, is this normal? Is this something that I should be experiencing? And sometimes it's like, yeah, that's just part of it. And sometimes it's like, no, go get help, go seek out a lactation consultant, go talk to your doctor. Like, these are not normal problems. But, we are so separated from our families now, where, like, people weren't back, decades and centuries ago, where now it's like my mom and grandma and aunts and uncles aren't standing there trying to help me learn this. And so it's harder, I think, because we're so isolated from our families like that.
All right, so this is probably going to be a male comment. I'm just going to lay that out
right,
there. Okay?
girls.
So if it's
Get
so
ready.
hard, one, why do you do it? And two, isn't that why they made formula?
Oh, boy.
Here we go.
Man.
I'm just saying.
Jeremy,
I knew I
you're
was
being too
stepping into
logical.
something, okay?
It's too logical.
There is something that comes with breastfeeding, especially if you start it, like the guilt with stopping. And I think there's a stigma.
Right. Especially now. I think so.
Yeah.
I think
I have a
Well,
her breastfed. She didn't even try. She didn't want to. Props to her. Great. But she would put her formula in a little Medela bottle so it would look like it was breast milk.
Oh, wow. Huh.
it's like a label.
Because we care too much about what other people think of us. And
Oh,
we
I
shouldn't.
like that. I like where this is going, Ellen. Talk about that.
Yeah.
I mean, should women care what other women think about them breastfeeding?
No, but we do.
Yes. Well, it's
I
just
mean,
like
Sharon,
time.
I mean, I've never asked you this question, but did you breastfeed?
sounds like a personal question.
It is. I mean, we're getting really personal here today. So.
Actually, I had 2 at a time, and I didn't want to feel like a cow. So that answer would be no. And when you have twins, and I had them on spring break while I was in school, and went back to school the next Monday. And one of them weighed 8'3".
Woo.
I was a baby making machine.
Wow.
Yeah, who does that? I'm an overachiever.
You are.
Seriously.
Wow.
But I couldn't. I had to go back to school, so I couldn't do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Crystal. I think it's totally mom guilt, but it's not internal mom guilt. It's external mom guilt that drives the internal one. Everybody, you're like, what are they going to think? Everybody knows that they say breast is best, but, I don't want to do it, but I have to because Jennifer down the street did it for a whole year. And what is Jennifer going to think? Like, nobody's thinking of you. Nobody even cares. And I have a prime example of this. You probably didn't listen to this podcast of ours, but I told this story on one of ours that I had it in my head that I have to nurse for a whole year to make my mom proud.
Oh,
and I got to like 10 months and I broke down to my mom. I'm like, I'm not going to make it to a year. And, I'm sorry. And she goes, what are you talking about? I gave you formula at like 6 months. And I was like, what?
Wow.
What?
Interesting.
And I was just devastated because I built up this whole story in my mind about, having to prove myself or make somebody else proud, but like they didn't even care.
Well,
and it was my mom. So if she didn't care, what does Jennifer down the street give a crap about what you're doing with your baby? She's busy trying to survive her own life.
Yeah. Well, to go to what you just said, I put my twins on formula from the very beginning, and one of my twins developed insulin-dependent diabetes whenever she was 5. And whenever I started looking at some of the literature, it says that babies who are given formula are more likely to get diabetes. So, of course, my child got diabetes because of me.
Because of you. You blamed yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what we do. That's what moms do.
I see that.
Yep.
I see that.
That's-
I will say that the mom judging goes both ways. If you're breastfeeding and someone's formula feeding around you, and then they're like, oh, why are you doing that? That's just so much harder on yourself. And so I feel like that's the problem with our mom culture these days is like, you can't do anything right. Someone will judge you for whatever choice you make. And so you just have to make your own choices and be okay with it. And like you said, don't care about Jenny down the block, just let it go.
It's surprising to me, though, given the personality of most CRNAs. I mean, not all, but most. I mean, you guys are driven, very self-assured and confident, and you do your own thing. I mean, you're, to be concerned about what other people think is interesting to me. just kind of knowing the personality of CRNAs. So I think we might need to get off the breast now because we've talked about it.
Are you ovulating yet, Jeremy?
It's not exactly what I would call
that was
it.
good.
This podcast.
As a CRNA, you spend years preparing yourself for this career, so we don't want to see you lose out on any of the income you've worked so hard to earn. The best way to protect yourself and give you the confidence that a major life event won't disrupt your financial future is through disability insurance. We've known disability income specialist Robert Smith for many years and have seen the work he's done with nearly 2,000 CRNAs over multiple decades. He can help identify any gaps in your existing coverage and fill those gaps by finding the best value on a policy. Contact Robert and let him know you heard about him on our podcast. Send him an email at rsmithjr@financialguide.com. That's rsmithjr@financialguide.com. Or call him at 504-394-6557. Protect your greatest asset as a CRNA, yourself and your ability to earn a living by adding disability insurance to your financial plan.
So, all right,
really.
well, let's address this. Let's go to the whole marriage aspect of having children. I mean, it's hard, and then you have a very stressful career on top of that. What about you, Laci? Talk about how do you keep your marriage alive and working with all the stressors that we endure?
Oh my gosh, it's a challenge. I'm not gonna lie. You know, it's really hard when you have young children on any marriage. And then my husband and I are in a little bit of a unique situation because he's a farmer also. And so, you know, we're not only working around my call schedule, and I'm in-house. I do in-house calls sometimes, and then I do backup call from home other times. But we're working around the weather and, you know, the spring planting and the fall. And so it's like there'll be some days when it's like, well, today looks like the only day we're going to get this harvest done in the next 2 weeks, and I'm supposed to be on call. And so trying to work that out and figure out like, okay, who's going to get the kids, and have like these backup plans and contingency plans and plan A, B, C, D, which is what we do as CRNAs. You know, we always have all our plans. And so having to do all of that, you know, you're really kind of just two ships passing in the night sometimes. And so it's a struggle. I don't think we have a perfect balance to it all, but, you know, we find time to just like, we don't watch a ton of TV, and so we find time to just like sit and chat and talk. And we do a lot of like family vacations, and we do a lot of stuff with our, you know, extended families. And so that kind of helps too, because then there's other people around that can kind of watch the kids, and we'll go off and do our own thing a little bit. But try to do date nights. You know, it gets harder and it's more expensive, and we don't live near family. And so, you know, there's definitely some challenges to having little kids, and we have probably more of a challenging situation because both of us have something else going on that's going to pull us away.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, we even find that my wife doesn't work full time. She works 1099 in the PRN status, and typically works on average 2 to 3 days a week. But I work a lot. I love what I do, and, you know, I do work a lot. And, you know, I get home, and if she's been with the kids all day, you know, she wants to hand them off, and I just need time to myself for a few minutes before I delve into the kids, you know. And then we have to work at, you know, are we going to have date nights? Are we going to, you know, whatever. And I don't know what Sharon just said, but anyway, whoever knows. Oh, Ellen, we see you.
We see you now, Ellen.
I'm literally like rigging this to be able to see you guys. I am on audio on my computer, but I finally had a bright idea for once in my life, and I logged in with video on my phone.
All right.
So I'm like double teaming you right now.
All right.
It's like Ellen overload.
And they can see your closet now.
Yeah, we can see your closet.
Now you can see my closet.
All right, Crystal, what about you? I mean, what do you do to kind of keep your marriage alive with your husband? You've got one child.
Right.
And is it easier, do you think, than the other girls with two at this point? Or do you still find the same type of issues?
I mean, I'm sure it's some of the same challenges. It's definitely harder with more than one. But you really just have to make an effort and be intentional about your marriage. You if you're going to schedule in the gym or you're going to schedule in work or, schedule in a play date, you have to schedule in that stuff for your marriage too. You can't just put that on the back burner, So we try to do date nights, family dinners. Oh, I read a book, The 5 Love Languages.
Yeah.
That's very good.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's actually, he used to be where we used to go to church. Gary was actually our pastor. When we did our marriage counseling, he was the one that did that for us. So, yeah.
So what's your love language, Jeremy?
Mine is time, quality time.
Really?
Yeah. And touch. Those are my two top.
Oh, man.
Of course it is. Jeremy.
I mean, I'm not lying.
I just hit him.
It's touch and quality time. So, yeah. Hey, do you know your love language, Crystal?
Mine
Do you
is,
remember?
oh gosh.
All right, the time's up. You should know it right now. Sorry.
The gifts one?
Gifts.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the gifts is one.
That's funny because me and my wife both are not into the gift side. Hers is more quality time, whereas mine's more touch. But both of those are the top two for both of us. So,
I mean, it's not, expensive gifts. It's just, something that shows that they were thinking about me.
oh, I thought you meant something that sparkled and
Never anything wrong
and-
with that, though. So, Ellen, are you familiar with the book? Do you know your love
I am.
language? What's your love language?
I don't know whatever its official name is, but I know that I respond best when I feel like my spouse is helping me and
That's
pitching
me.
in,
Acts of
and
service.
I forget whatever
That's
one
it.
that's called.
That acts
But,
of service. Yep.
Yeah.
That's mine, too.
Yes, I
Interesting.
love that. I tell my husband all the time, I'm like, if I just see you, you can just stand next to the dishwasher and pretend you're unloading it. But that is just enough for me to make me very happy.
Oh, yeah. I'm like that. And if you take out the garbage, man, oh, my God, that makes me happy.
That's it.
If,
That's all it
if
takes.
Pierce takes out the
So-
garbage, you're running into the bedroom waiting for him. Is that the way it works?
Yes.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was a resounding yes. I'm taking out the garbage and I'm emptying the dishwasher
See, you
tonight.
learned something today.
Just saying.
You're going to start ovulating too soon.
That's it. If you get and if you listen, let me tell you, a man's idea of doing the laundry is throwing it in the washing machine.
What's wrong with that?
That does not. Doing the laundry means you also put it in the dryer, you fold it, and you put it up.
I don't mind putting it in the dryer. I hate to fold
Listen,
it.
Pierce will say, "I did the laundry for
Yeah.
you." Really.
Yeah.
All you got to wash in mine is a thong, man. Everything else goes to everything else.
Sharon got
goes-
really excited and knocked over
Everything
the
else goes
She
to
is.
the
She's throwing things
dry
down.
cleaners.
I'll tell you, there's this video online. I'll have to send it to you guys after this podcast. But basically, it's like this lady who describes her husband and him doing laundry or helping out with anything. And there's like this zone that she describes that exists for men. It's between the bed and the hamper. And that's where they throw their laundry. Like it doesn't ever make it into the hamper. It just makes it right on that spot on the floor.
That's
That's
funny.
like the zone that she describes. And
You know-
that's 1,000% true. It's
Ellen-
real life.
Ellen, do you
like,
know-
whatever
Oh
that
my
is.
God. Okay, I have to own up now because I think my husband's going to listen to this episode and he's going to be really mad if I do not own this. But he is much better at doing the laundry than I am.
See, that's
I'm
the way
the one
I
with
am.
the zone, and he's the one who puts it in the hamper. He's also the one who makes sure that it gets done. He does not put my clothes away so they're all sitting in a basket, but he'll put the kids' clothes away. And he's just. I
That's
will give
funny.
him credit here because credit is due.
Speaking
That's
of
okay. Good
laundry
job,
and
Laci.
children, can you believe how much laundry you have with small children? I mean, and they're
no.
so little, and yet so much laundry.
Yeah.
Their clothes are so small, but it multiplies somehow in the hamper.
I see how you guys do this because it just, we could continue to talk about all this stuff and on and on and on. So now, I'm going to have to start listening to your podcast, and my friends and my wife are going to go, what in the world are you doing listening to Scrub Caps and Sippy Cups? But this is fun.
While
This
you're
is
ovulating.
interesting. Yeah, while I'm ovulating.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the laundry, and I'm unloading the dishwasher, and I'm making it from the...
You're breastfeeding.
right to the bed.
That's the effect we have.
Oh, gosh.
Today's show is brought to you by the folks at CRNA Financial Planning, an independent consulting firm that offers financial planning services exclusively to CRNAs and their families. From planning for a child's future college expenses to building a predictable income stream in retirement, the firm is committed to offering you comprehensive financial services, customized to fit your unique needs and objectives. If you have questions about your financial future, get them answered. Call the team at 855-304-3748. That's 855-304-3748. Or go online to crnafinancialplanning.com.
Well, let's wrap this up on one question here. What do you do for yourself besides being on our podcast? But it's hard to find time when you're a mom. So, Crystal, why don't you kick us off?
Oh, I have to make time for the gym or some sort of fitness, and I have to get a manicure every other week. Have to.
That's awesome. Hey, we had the young ladies from Balancing Fit on.
The Jamies.
The Jamies. And I don't know whether you follow them. They're on Instagram and so forth, but they're a couple CRNAs. But Balancing Fit will give them a shout out here too. And that's one of the
they have
things
like
they
50,000 followers.
Yeah, so they've done a great job with it. So, all right, Laci, what do you do for yourself these days?
Well, so this is going to be a long-winded question, but one of the hardest parts for me about becoming a mom was losing myself. And, I distinctly remember the very first time I went to daycare and went to pick up my son, and they were like, Owen's mom is here. And I was like, Owen's mom? My name's Laci. But you become someone else's mom. You stop being you and you become someone else's mom in other people's eyes. And so it's really easy to kind of lose yourself. So I've really struggled with that. And, I'm kind of refinding myself through this. And I love doing the podcasting. I love hanging out with these ladies. They're so amazing and inspiring. I like to read also. And then my family and I travel a lot, and we go camping and we go hiking, and then we've taken both our kids internationally also. And so, we kind of do that stuff. And then for myself, just myself, I like to read. I like to knit, although I haven't done it as much lately. And I like to just go out with friends. I like to get off work a little early and just meet a friend out for coffee and talk. And I enjoy doing that kind of stuff.
Hey, and Laci, your friends like you to go out with them because you're the DD now. So.
Yes.
Yes.
Ellen, what do you do for yourself?
I'm pretty lame because I kind of agree with Laci. I've not lost myself, but I've reprioritized. I wish I had the dedication that Crystal has to get her nails done every 2 weeks, but I just forget. And then I'll have an hour to do it, and I'll be like, no, I'm just going to go home and cook. So I love cooking. That's my outlet right now. I'm not a good baker. I'm trying really hard to be one, but it's just not working out, but I'm trying. I love cooking. I am obsessed with reality television. I have an obsession with the Real Housewives franchise.
Oh, okay.
I think that it helps me disconnect from my real life, and it's so mindless, and I watch them and I'm like, wow, I'm doing really well. So I love that. And I love to go to the gym, even though I don't get there as much as I should, but mentally and emotionally, that is a staple in my life. It keeps me grounded, and I wouldn't survive without it, I don't think. But I'm pretty simple. Those are my 3 big things right now.
Well, going back to what Laci said about losing yourself, this has been many, many moons ago. And Pierce and I've been married to my husband, be 37 years. And he and I were having little problems. And so we were going to a therapist to work it out. And one of the things that they told us not to do, and most parents do this, they'll call each other mama and daddy. And they said, you are not supposed to do that.
Oh, wow.
You are supposed
you take on that persona, I guess.
You do.
Yeah.
And, men are always looking for their mama. I mean, they come out of the womb trying to get back in.
Women are always looking for their daddy, too.
That's true, too. And yours almost did, since you're old enough to be your daddy almost.
You're so funny.
But they did say you lose who you are. And then he will start seeing you as mama and not as Sharon. So it made perfect sense now. we've got a little 6-pound dog that's the love of my husband's life, and he'll go. He calls me Mama again, and some things are just not worth the fight.
That's true. I have the opposite problem in my house. I refer to my husband as Babe all the time, and he does too. And now my son calls us Babe.
Oh wow!
So we have to break that. Now I don't know what to do.
Yeah, our kids will call us by our names, Sarah, Jeremy. I'm like, no, it's Mom and Dad.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Well, it's about like my twins. Their names are Michelle and Danielle. And when they went to kindergarten, both of them thought their name was Shell Danielle, because when you yelled for them, you go, Shell Danielle. And so you'd ask one, what's your name? Shell Danielle. What's your name? Shell Danielle.
They could be calling us much worse than Babe and, Jeremy.
That is true.
So
Yeah, that's true.
When my son wants to get our attention, he just yells, Parent! Parent!
Oh my God, that's awesome.
No, he does not.
That's awesome.
I realized I had lost myself when I was creating my Instagram account, and the only handle name I could think of was Tegan's mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Time to get it together.
Get it together. Yeah. Well, guys, I know we could probably talk to you guys all night long. This is great. And so where can our listeners find you guys? Tell them about your podcast. And if you've got an Instagram or Facebook, go ahead and let them know about that.
Yeah. Crystal, you want to take it? You're good at it.
Yeah. So our podcast, you can find us on any podcast player. We are Scrub Caps and Sippy Cups. And you can connect with us on social media on Facebook at Scrub Caps and Sippy Cups, or on Instagram and Twitter at Hey Smart Mamas.
Hey Smart Mamas. I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Hey Smart Mamas.
That's what we refer to each other as in the group. When we ask a question, they say, Hey Smart Mamas.
I love it.
I have a question about such and such. So
that's cool.
I love it.
Anything you guys would like to conclude on as we kind of wrap up?
I want to say one thing. I know we were talking about women being super judgmental of other women, and I know this became really apparent this weekend after the Super Bowl and all the backlash with I can't remember their names anymore, J-Lo and Shakira. I will say that the reason that our podcast and our group has become so successful, I think the number one thing is there's no judgment there. People ask and say things that are so vulnerable and so easy to tear apart and tear down and attack character and attack a marriage or a relationship or the way you raise your children. But truthfully, that is why our group is so successful. And what everybody always says in their reviews is that they feel that it is the safest place they can go, sometimes safer than their own relationships at home, to talk about any issues, anything, and any possible topics that they have. So I really want to encourage everybody who listens to this and our podcast and just out there in general, don't be like the people tearing down J-Lo and Shakira. Build people up, fix their crown, and don't mention anything about it.
Well, Ellen, to that point too, I mean, we see it in the CRNA community and some of the online forums, Facebook and so forth. I mean, I know you guys do, it's a definite problem out there. And that's amazing that you guys have put together a group of good folks who try to lift people up and not tear them down. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I'm in some Facebook groups where you can just tell stuff's getting reported all the time. Yeah. And there's people like breaking the group rules and all of that. And it's very rare. I would say once a month something gets reported, and it's usually by accident.
Yeah, typically. And I would think that we to be fair, we are pretty strict. We bring down the hammer and we tell people right away that's not acceptable and next time you're out. But I think people respect that more, and they know that the lines are there and they cannot cross them, because they will not sacrifice the sacred group that Crystal had started and we had all built and people find safety in. So we can't let those people ruin that for everyone.
Ellen, I like
that.
Well,
it's part of the group culture. And so it's easy to it's not just the three of us enforcing things, it's the group culture. And if somebody says something that's out of line, usually we're not even aware of it before somebody else has dealt with it.
Well,
and so
that's all. That
it's
goes
just
back
nice
to
that happens.
Leadership ladies, and you ladies are leaders within your group, and that's the reason why. And so everything rises and falls on leadership.
Well, it does. And, to Ellen's point, she said, bring down the hammer.
Yes.
I thought that was a good anesthesia term.
I like
you guys knock them out.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So, You can tell the guy that doesn't
I didn't plan that.
But
I
it was
thought
good.
it was a great
no
lead.
good idea.
That one's perfect. So.
It was good.
Well, we want to thank you, ladies, for being with us tonight. And again, I found it very interesting. Sharon, you were right. You don't hear me say that very often.
Say that one
but
more
you were
time,
right.
man. You know, that's my three favorite words I like to hear.
I know. And sometimes I do have to say it. So, but we want to thank our listeners for listening to Beyond the Mask with Jeremy Stanley and
Sharon Pierce.
If you like our show and want to know more, check us out on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review, but only if it's
positive.
We want no negative reviews out there. Till next time.
It's a wrap.
Have you thought about what would happen if you weren't able to work for 2 or 3 years? You know, on average, 25% of people will file a disability claim, and most of us aren't prepared for that loss of income. Every CRNA needs to protect their biggest asset, yourself, and your ability to earn with a disability insurance policy. We recommend contacting Robert Smith, a master disability insurance specialist with more than 30 years of experience and 1,800 CRNA clients, to find the coverage that fits you best. The best way to do that is to send him an email at rsmithjr@financialguide.com. That's rsmithjr@financialguide.com. Or call him at 504-394-6557. Beyond the Mask is made possible by the team at CRNA Financial Planning. With almost 2 decades of experience, the firm guides CRNAs through the complexities of investing and financial planning. Schedule a free consultation today by calling 855-304-3748 or go online to crnafinancialplanning.com.
Hi, this is Jackie Rolls, President of the International Federation of Nurse Anesthetists and President and founder of Our Hearts, Your Hands, a global anesthesia support community that takes donations to allow nurse anesthetists in low and middle income countries to go to educational programs, to buy equipment or textbooks. Your donations are tax deductible, and we would appreciate your support.
OSA EMR is a free anesthesia EMR developed by CRNAs that you can download and use on an iPad. Our nonprofit mission is to make sure that solo and small practice CRNAs can digitally record their anesthetics. To learn more, visit osaemr.com to download and consider donating to our cause. Remember, for CRNAs, data is destiny.
Be sure to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and anywhere you like to listen to shows. Also be sure to check out BeyondTheMaskPodcast.com. Each episode is posted there with a corresponding blog post, and we timestamp important parts of the episode to help you quickly get to the content you're looking for. Also check out the special series section on the site. You can follow along and catch up on the CRNA History Series, episodes specifically about political conversations in the industry, or try the CRNA Personal Finance Series. It's all on BeyondTheMaskPodcast.com. And if you have a question for the show or want to be a guest, or even suggest a particular topic, fill out the contact form on the site or send an email directly to us at info@BeyondTheMaskPodcast.com. And lastly, let's take the conversation social. Check out our Beyond the Mask podcast Facebook page and Facebook group.